Hello Grand Archive players. Let's answer a rules question. Let's say you control a Retai Stablemaster, who has an on-enter trigger. You do not control any horse allies. You have in your hand some fire cards you would like to discard, and a flash fire horse, but not enough influence to activate it. You also have several fire cards in the graveyard. Can you still get the full benefit of this on-enter trigger? Let's take a closer look at Retai Stablemaster. This card has two abilities, a triggered on-enter ability and a static ability. When this ally enters the field, her ability goes onto the stack and checks only on resolution if you control a horse ally. This gives us a small window of opportunity to take fast actions before it resolves. The second ability is a static ability. This static ability doesn't use the stack and becomes active immediately when Retai Stablemaster enters the field. Although chances are that most of the time, you'd make use of the first ability, fueling your graveyard with the on-enter trigger, before the second static one, playing horses in your main phase. This is an uncommon situation where it's relevant that right now, your horse ally card activations have Kindle. Therefore, with the on-enter trigger still on the stack, you can use the Kindle mechanic to help pay for the activation of Flashfire Horse, allowing you to be in control of a horse ally when the on-enter trigger finally resolves. This concept can apply to other situations as well. For example, if you play a Stonescale Band, its on-enter trigger will go onto the stack. You have opportunity to respond to this trigger with Stonescale Band's own activated ability. You can do this to put cards into memory, then discard them when the on-enter trigger resolves. Let's look at a slightly different example. You control a level 1 Tamer Champion and a Menagerie Beastbonder, and then play a Brisk Windtrotter. How many buff counters will you get? That is, do both of Brisk Windtrotter's on-enter abilities get to trigger? Brisk Windtrotter's on-enter triggers have restriction abilities attached to them. The condition in the black bubble must be met in order for the game to consider Windtrotter to have that ability. Otherwise, it is treated as though it doesn't exist. So the question becomes, does the game see your champion as being level 2 when this ability attempts to trigger? The answer here is yes. Beastbonder's static ability kicks in the instant that Windtrotter touches the field. After this event happens, the game evaluates the game state to see if any triggered abilities have occurred, and finds some, in this case the ones on Brisk Windtrotter. At the time this happens, the game sees that your champion has statically gained a level, allowing both of Brisk Windtrotter's on-enter abilities to trigger. Let's look at one more example. You control a Merlin Amethyst Glow and a Quiet Refraction. Your Fractured Memories Mastery has 6 Sheen counters. You level up to Merlin Brilliant Vestige. Do you get her on-enter trigger? In case you don't know what Sheen counters and a Fractured Memories is, it's not super important to know exactly what they do. Just know that Merlin Brilliant Vestige has a restriction ability that requires 8 Sheen counters. I think it should be pretty clear that if you already had 8 Sheen, you would get both the Merlin on-enter trigger and the Quiet Refraction trigger. The trigger condition for these two triggers are the same, that is, Merlin Brilliant Vestige entering the champion lineage, and so these triggers can be placed onto the stack in the order of your choosing. However, this isn't the situation we're working with. You only have 6 Sheen counters as the level up event happens. Then, the game will look for any triggered abilities that should occur here. As it does, it will find only one, the ability from Quiet Refraction. This will be put onto the stack as state-based checks are performed. After that trigger resolves, you will now have 8 Sheen counters. However, the trigger condition for Merlin Brilliant Vestige is long past. It's already been several rounds of state-based checks since she entered the lineage. In this case, you won't be able to get her on-enter trigger that's locked behind the unmet restriction ability. Compare this situation to a card like Tristan Hired Blade, which is an unrestricted trigger that checks its condition upon resolution. For Tristan, regardless of the number of preparation counters on her, there will always be opportunity to respond before it attempts to resolve and check the number of preparation counters at that time. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.